Memorial Day, guys. Beaches, beers, hot dog. Or if you truly understand what Memorial Day is about, it's about honoring the people that have lost their lives, answering the call of their country. Whether you agree with the wars we have fought in as a country or not, the men and women who answer the call when their country tells them to go and they go, who have made the ultimate sacrifice fighting overseas. That's what Memorial Day is about. Unfortunately, while we have been overseas fighting, we're losing that war here at home. We have forgot to watch what's going on around us. And while our brave men and women are taking up arms in the name of their country, we've allowed some snakes into politics here. And we, the people, have just not been keeping them in check. Unfortunately, in this country, we're watching socialism and communism creep in, a land of the free, right? We are watching it slowly be taken over by people. We have open socialists and communists inside our government from within, trying to essentially overthrow what America was founded on. And we're seeing these issues now here at home locally. I wanted to make this video to address the park incident when the police showed up, and I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the things that I learned are really important. Just a light bulb going off in my head that I realized what was going on. We were going down there to take down the caution tape so that kids could go and play. I'll put a link in the description below if you guys want to watch that video. If you haven't, sorry for the background music. I know a lot of you weren't a fan of it. I thought it was funny. If you want to watch the full video of what took place, more of the conversation with the law enforcement officers, you guys can check out the other link. I'll stick one in from one of the other guys that was there. But a lot of real important things were said there, guys. So we went down to one of the local parks here in northern Idaho that they had. We went to a couple, actually. And we took down their closed signs. They're closed for COVID-19 crap. We went to the parks. We cut them down. We returned the signs to, to the park people. We went to another park and we tore down all the caution tape and took down the signs. And that's where we had that run-in with law enforcement. And the officer that showed up, the original one speaking, if you guys listen to that, just the first little bit of that video, he initially comes up and accuses us of stealing the signs, which is fine. And the way that this conversation took place, the way that this incident ended is very important. So stick around, guys. Watch this whole video. It's very important, the way that it started versus the way that it ended. But real important words coming from that officer. He made the point on camera. He made the point that just because the signs are up that says that the park and the playground are closed, right, doesn't mean that they actually are. So when we challenged him on the fact that there was no code enforcing it, he made the comment, just because the sign is up doesn't mean it's closed. They want you to comply with the sign without having to enforce it legally, lawfully. They just want you to comply with the sign. So they're telling you it's closed. Now, part of the conversation you guys didn't catch on my video was the conversation that I was having with the other officer that was standing next to me. And he was making the point that, we don't care if kids come and play on this stuff. Mind you, it's all wrapped in caution tape and the signs say stay out. He said, we don't care if kids come and play on this stuff. When I come by and I see kids playing on it, I just keep driving. And while in his mind, he thinks, okay, we're following orders and we're doing our job, but we're not enforcing it, so we're not infringing on anyone's rights, and we're not being those tyrants, right? But what message does that send to those kids? What are we telling our youth when we're saying, hey, we're going to put this up and tell you guys to stay out, but if you're the kind of kid who's going to ignore it and go and play, we're going to reward you for that. It just seems odd that as an adult employed by anyone, the city, right, we're too afraid to stand up and say, no, this isn't right. I'm taking a stand and I'm going to do it. But we're expecting small children to do it. If those children, and I'm all for it, guys, but I think the message is lost. I think that the way that they want to go about it, I think is wrong. I think it's cowardly. To expect small children to say, I don't care that these signs are up, I'm going to go play anyway, and then reward them for that. It's wrong. It's the wrong message to send. We should be teaching these kids, hey, we're not going to make you stand up. We're going to take the stand. This park is open. We're not going to close it down. You guys are free to come and play because you're free in America. But this cop's saying, well, we got to follow orders. But if the kids break these rules, yeah, we're going to let them slide. What kind of message is that, right? We're not even leading by example. We're just hoping that these kids have more intestinal fortitude than we do to actually secure their rights and liberties. It's amazing to me. And I think that message was lost on the officer that was telling me this, that we expect the kids to be a better representative of our rights than we are. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of that. It just blows my mind. I feel like it's such a cowardly notion to say that. It really blows my mind that a grown man told me that. I, for one, will lead by example. I went up and took that stuff down. Me and the guys that I was with, we went down, we took that stuff down so that our community could see that as an example and they could realize, and I didn't know how much we were going to get to see that we would all really realize what's going on. They have no intentions of enforcing it. They're putting it up to get you to comply. They're telling you it's a rule to get you to comply because they know that most people are sheep. And they know that most people are going to follow the rules and listen to daddy. But sometimes, guys, we need to question authority. And when that authority has given us the wrong directive, we really need to question authority and we need to push back. And part of that comes from knowing our rights and understanding what we are allowed to do. So that when law enforcement tells us we're not allowed to do something, we know what we are allowed to do. And so when you push back, you have the laws on your side. You have the Constitution on your side, which makes you correct in the argument, okay? You might have to go to court to prove it, but understanding our rights and freedoms that we are afforded in this country that is recognized by our Constitution as Americans is so important, because if you don't know, they're going to prey on your ignorance. What you saw here was predatory behavior. What you saw here was bully tactics. They're going to prey on your ignorance. They are going to force you to do something, and then they're going to hope that you just don't peek behind the curtain and find out that it's all a mind game. And it blew my mind when he said that. I mean, I was just amazed that he said that on camera. But it proved a huge point, the fact that we're being told to obey, and many of us are just obeying. You know, and we're buying into the rhetoric. We're buying into this notion that COVID-19 is so dangerous, and you have to stay inside, and you have to let your livelihood get ruined, and you have to let your business go under, and you know, you can't push back against the man, right? We'll come down on you. We need to stick together as community, and we need to push back against this. So when they tell you stay inside, you don't have to stay inside. Not in America. That doesn't happen. When they tell you to stay out of those parks paid for by us through our tax, through our stolen taxes, when they steal money from us and then pay for stuff like that, we get it. It's ours. If it's closed for maintenance, that's one thing. They're not closing it for maintenance. They're abusing the system. They're using caution tape. Caution tape. What are we being cautious of? What are we being cautious of? Something that the media is hyping up like crazy? Something that the professionals, the medical professionals, are lying about? They're deceiving us with their records. They're taking these deaths and they're adding it to COVID-19, and it's not true. And now the CDC has come out and proven it. They've come out and said it. We realize now that this thing is a giant hype job. But many of us complied. And I think that this was a big mind game. I think that this was a big test to see how far Americans would get pushed, how much we would allow. And I think many of us allowed too much. Many of us allowed our businesses to go under. Many of us allowed our families to get hurt. We sat back and said, go, government's telling me I got to do this. When the government is out to destroy your livelihood, who do you turn to? Who is there for you? Who are the numbers that helps you to protect yourself? We're seeing it in Idaho right now. We had a business open up, a bar open up, and the governor sent in the state police to warn them. They didn't close down or didn't listen to the governor because it's unlawful. We're starting to see that this is all unlawful, right? So it's going to go to court, and they're going to face a ton of lawsuits, right? And we, the people, are going to pay those lawsuits. It'll be fantastic. But the governor then sent the state police back in, and the state police came into this place and seized a bunch of electronics, apparently. I don't know, developing situation, right? Tyranny taking place in the state of Idaho, and it's going to continue until we push back, right? So it was very important for us to go up there and take that stuff down, and I know it was a very important lesson for many of you, because many of you guys told me that you went and did it as well, and that is what needs to happen. We need to go and take down their signs and their caution tape and give it back to them and say, nope, sorry, we're not playing this game, go ahead and take this back. And they told us, well, it's fine, we're just going to put it back up again. They're going to continue to just play the game, right? So we need to continue to play the game. We need to go in there and take it down every day. Take it down every day. Because if the community's coming together and saying, hey, you're wasting money, you're wasting resources, stop putting this stuff up, no one's abiding by it, no one's listening, they're going to stop. They are going to stop. It's a game of who gives up first. Do we give up first and then they say, all right, our signs work? Or do they give up and say, our signs aren't working, this is ridiculous? Because at a certain point, one side or the other is going to give up. And if we give up, if we stop pushing back, then they win. And what is their objective and what is their goal? Their goal is tyranny. Their objective is control. They are trying to control us as Americans. They are trying to dumb us down. They are trying to break us and bend us. Americans don't break and bend, guys. We just don't do it. It's not in our blood, right? It's not what we were built on. There are many of us, unfortunately, who have become wonderful sheep in the flock of the government. But there are many of us who don't buy it, and it is important for us who don't buy it to push back. And the way this whole thing ended, guys, the way that whole interaction with law enforcement ended, nobody was arrested, nobody was ticketed, they didn't even try to identify us, didn't even try to ID us. What does that tell you? When you speed down the road, they identify you. Generally, they always try to identify you, right? Why wouldn't they even try to identify us? Because they have no intentions of trying to enforce this stuff. It is a mind game. It is a giant mind game. And they don't want to be held liable for it. So what they're doing is they're making it look like the laws are legit, that the rules are legit, but they're not going to enforce it. Guys, it's a game of chicken.